The RV Show USA.
Hi, it's the RV Wingman, and welcome to today's podcast. Before we begin, make sure and download my latest free RV report. It'll save you thousands when buying or selling an RV and prevent you from being ripped off. My latest report is available now at freervreport.com.
The RV Show USA. Start living the RV dream today.
And welcome everybody. Glad you could join us. Alan Warren here, the RV Wingman. Pull up a seat around my virtual campfire where we're sitting around talking about RVs and camping and just good old-fashioned fun with some of today's most popular RV influencers.
The RV Show USA. Start living the RV dream today.
This virtual campfire is brought to you by the RV Dealers I Trust Network. RV dealers I have personally vetted. RV dealers I trust. I think you can trust them too. Check them out at rvdealersitrust.com.
The RV Show USA. Start living the RV dream today.
And welcome to the RV Show USA, everybody. I hope you're getting in the holiday spirit, that the TV news isn't getting you too depressed. My suggestion, turn it off. Little of that goes a very long ways, but welcome to the RV Show USA. I'm Alan Warren, the RV Wingman, and today you'll meet a man who lives off-grid. And I mean, he and his wife literally and figuratively live off-grid. And I find him most interesting. I think you might as well. Our friends from the Happy Camper radio show, Skip and Daniel, are diving into something that sounds pretty cool called CamperAlerts.com. We'll also have a best of segment from our friends at the Camper Report that I think you'll enjoy. But first, you're about to meet a camper who has pretty much perfected penny pinching when it comes to camping. And I say that in a most positive way. Carolyn Higgins is a full-time RVer who lives in her motorhome and boondocks much of the time. She's also got a very nice YouTube channel called Carolyn's RV Life. And she says that camping is a whole lot more fun when you take the stress out of it, like the stress of spending money needlessly.
Hack number 1 is saving gas. Gas prices are on everybody's minds these days. So my number 1, actually I have 2 tips here for saving gas. Number 1 is use an app like Gas Buddy so that you can find places along the way where you can get the cheapest gas prices. Actually, I have 3 here. Don't drive over 60, 65. I read recently that every mile you go after 55, your gas mileage decreases exponentially. So the slower you drive, the better you're going to be at saving gas, and the lower, of course, your cost is going to be. My biggest tip, though, for saving gas is just don't travel a lot. If you're coming out here out of necessity, just don't travel a lot. Find an area that has everything you need with enough national forest that you can move the minimal amount of miles, the minimal number of miles every 2 weeks. So you can have, I've talked about this before, you can kind of have a rotation. You're here for 2 weeks, you're someplace else for 2 weeks, you're someplace else for 2 weeks, and then you can go back to your original spot. Most national forests say you can stay 2 weeks and then you need to leave for 30 days. Check every national forest to make sure. But find an area that you enjoy that has everything you need and just do a circuit in that area. Don't do a lot of traveling. I don't spend that much when I'm just traveling in one region. So that's my number 1 hack for saving money. Tip number 2 for saving money living in an RV or anywhere for that matter is to make sure you get an affordable cell phone plan. And number 3, boondock instead of paying for expensive RV parks. Like I said, follow the rules, go to National Forest, Bureau of Land Management, and all the other places, and I'll put a link of suggested videos in the video description. I've talked all about how to find free boondocking and all the places that you can find boondocking. So boondock instead of staying in expensive RV parks or campgrounds. Even an annual state park pass is going to cost money, whereas boondocking isn't going to cost you anything. So boondocking and dispersed camping is a great hack for saving money. The fourth hack I have for you for saving money is to find free dump stations. Dump stations have gotten more expensive since I've been on the road. Some places you might have to go to an RV resort. It can be as high as $20. So if you use an app like Santa Dumps, you can search out free dump stations. Sometimes I notice in New York, the water treatment plants have free dump stations. Some states have free dump stations at their rest areas. I know, Alabama has them at some rest areas. Georgia has them at some rest areas. There's a couple states in the West too. So that's it. Use an app like Santa Dumps, which is free, to find free dump stations, and you can often get free potable water as well. So that's my fourth tip for saving money living in an RV. Number 5, buy what you can afford. If you're just starting out, or even if you're already on the road and you've got these hefty payments that are, a constant choke around your neck every month, you have to make an RV payment, it might be time to think about getting rid of it and downsizing to something you can afford. But if you are planning your RV life and just starting out, don't go for the $100,000 rig that's going to give you a $300-$400 a month payment. Buy what you can afford. And as you save money living in an RV, which hopefully you will then be able to move up. So start off with whatever you can afford, even if it's a van. If eventually you want to live in an RV, but RVs are really expensive right now after COVID, start with a van. Live in a van for a year. Save enough money so that you can then trade up. So just buy what you can afford and say no to debt, say no to payments. That's the huge way you can save money living in an RV. Number 6, stop buying expensive detergents and soaps. And face care and makeup for that matter. I don't know. I see a lot of women in the RV life who still like to wear makeup. For me, that was a joy and a liberation to be able to get rid of that living in this life. But even things like soap and detergent and laundry detergent, you would be amazed at what vinegar can do. White vinegar, apple cider vinegar, and you can get a big thing for a couple bucks. So try to find alternatives to the things you're used to buying, the commercial things that you're used to buying that are super expensive. And you would be amazed. I can stay clean without all the fancy soaps and fancy face. I don't use anything fancy on my face. I use soap and water. You don't have to necessarily spend money on really expensive commercial brands to stay clean and to keep your RV clean. Number 7, and this is for women, stop using so much toilet paper. Have you ever thought about how much toilet paper women use compared to men? And that adds up. So take a tip from backpackers and just use a pee rag. You can use a handkerchief. You can use, there's microbiome, they actually sell pee rags that are antibacterial, microbe, whatever, but they're expensive. You don't need that. On the trail, all the long hikes I've done, I've used a pee rag. It's a hanky. You use it, you hang it to dry, you rinse it out every day, and it's fine. And you're going to use a lot less toilet paper, which is going to save you a lot of money in the end. And tip number 8, don't throw a lot of your vegetable scraps away. You can make soups, you can make sauces, you can make broths. If you're a meat eater, use every part, use the bone, use the fat, use everything to make broth. You can make soups ahead of time and put them in the freezer. And just don't be wasteful with any food that you have or any food scraps. Try to use every bit of food that you have. And there's a common misconception that eating healthy food is more expensive than eating prepackaged canned foods and things like that. That is not true. You can buy rice, you can buy potatoes, you can buy vegetables, and you can make big, huge pots of soup, put them in the freezer, and have them easy to grab when you're traveling. And that's going to cost you in the end a lot less than prepackaged processed food. So that's tip number 8. Tip number 9. Conserve propane. So here are things I do all the time to conserve propane so that in the summer especially, I can go a month, maybe longer, on 10 gallons of propane. It's pretty good, right? Propane runs my refrigerator. and my stove and my heat and my water heater. So here is my hack for saving money on propane. I never turn on the hot water unless I'm going to take a shower. And I don't take very many showers. I usually sponge bathe as often as I need to. Here in the humidity, I need to do it a lot more, but just sponge bathe. What I do is when I'm boiling water for my coffee in the morning, I boil a little extra. I put it a couple cups in a bowl. I wet a washcloth, and that's how I bathe. So don't turn on the hot water unless you are going to take a shower. Same thing for dishes. I just boil a little bit of water for my dishes. The second thing that you can do to save propane in the winter, instead of turning on the heat, bake something. So you get double duty out of your propane. It's going to heat your RV up and you get dinner at the same time. And hack number 10 for saving money living in an RV is to maintain your vehicle. It costs a lot less for maintenance than it does for repair. So check your tire pressure regularly, check your brakes regularly, change your oil every 5,000 miles, check your fluids. Just maintaining your vehicle is going to save you a lot of money in the end.
So what do you think? And what tips do you have that can help us save money when we RV? Again, as I said at the top of the segment, Carolyn Higgins has a YouTube channel, and for anyone who thinks that solo women camping is too difficult, Carolyn breaks it down by talking about the ups and downs of full-time RVing, obviously with a woman's perspective. You'll find her on YouTube under Carolyn's RV Life, but of course, we have a link to her as well at thervshowusa.com. Back with more after the break.
Helping you to learn so you won't get burned. He's back on the radio again.
And welcome back to the RV Show USA, everybody. I'm Alan Warren, the RV Wingman. If you're a camper, you know that finding a good camping spot today is easier than it has been for the past couple of seasons. Now, there are many apps and websites that can help you plan ahead. Well, there's a dude, this smart dude that knows programming, that's come out with a program that can help you find the perfect campsite the minute it becomes available, even months in advance. Our friends at Happy Camper Radio have caught up with Thomas Vaughn from CamperAlerts.com to learn more.
Thomas, you have a new program here, relatively new. It's called CamperAlerts.com. And from what I understand, if you have a particular campsite in mind, and I know I myself personally, there's one or two that I always go back to, but you just never know when the window of opportunity will open up for you to book that site. You have a website called CamperAlerts.com that actually takes care of that for the customers, don't you?
I do, yeah. It will do a few things. It does what you just said. You can also just search for a campground and just say, let me know if any site becomes available. But like you said, you can also drill down to a specific site, or maybe the way I like to use it is some of our campgrounds that we go to have, say, waterfront sites. Maybe there's 5 there on the waterfront, and we like to kayak. So I'll select any of those 5. If any of those 5 become available, it will send me an alert. So there's lots of different options like that.
You know, I find a lot of people that go camping love to be right by the water, and I'm one of them. You know, at any time that I try to book a campground on recreation.gov, which is, one of the programs that, we feature here on the program constantly. I always try to get by the water if I possibly can.
I like to be by the bathhouse.
Why?
Because I don't use the bathroom in campers. You don't use the bathroom in campers. It's my religion.
Okay. So, that would be an interesting question for you, Thomas. Near
the bathrooms. That's what I want.
Well, there's nothing on the site that will specifically do that, but if you look up on, say, recreation.gov, find what sites are near a bathhouse, then you can select those when you're building an alert.
Yeah, and that's one of the nice things about recreation.gov that I have used in the past is they do have maps on there, and you can actually zoom in to see where the bathhouse is, where the nearest playground is, or the picnic pavilion, or whatever the case may be. But yeah, I'm a waterfront guy, so yeah, that's one of the first things I would definitely plug into your website.
Yeah.
Now, tell us a little bit about Campers Alert, and how did you get started with this?
Sure. So at the beginning of the pandemic, I got my wife hooked on camping, and as soon as we were done with the first trip, she said, "Okay, when can we go again?" And so I started looking and realized that there's nowhere to camp. Everything's booked out, 6 months in advance as soon as they open up. But I'm a software developer, and I thought, I bet there's people that have to cancel for, life happens. There's lots of reasons. And I wonder if I can find a way to figure out when that happens and send myself an email. So I built that and kind of used it for myself for the first couple of years. And pretty much every campsite we booked was because of that program that I had written. And so then I started thinking, well, I bet there are a lot of other people that could use this service. Specifically thinking about maybe people that only camp once or twice a year, and maybe they don't have, they can't book 6 months in advance because just their jobs or whatever in life keeps them from being able to plan that far in advance. And I didn't want someone like that to not be able to camp because of their life circumstances. So being able to set an alert, find out when somebody cancels, and book, something at the last minute could be really helpful. So I built that and just started adding additional reservation systems. So now we're up to 5 different reservation systems that it can check. And we check anywhere from every 15 minutes to every hour, depending on which level of an alert that you get.
Okay, this does it automatically?
It does. It does it automatically behind the scenes. You don't have to do anything after you set up the alert. And it will, depending on which alert you get, it will send you an email or a text message. And what that does, we don't book any sites for you. What it is, what we do is monitor these sites, let you know when something's available, send you details on which site or sites are available, and a link to the reservation site. And for most of them, it will take you straight to the page where you need to make the reservation.
Now, how do the alerts come to you? Do the alerts come by email, text message?
Either one. Depending on, we've got 3 different levels of alerts that kind of give you additional options. And the pro alert is the highest level, and it allows you to choose either email or text message as the delivery method. The other 2 levels will send an email.
Okay.
With the alert.
Now, does it matter if you're a tent camper, an RV camper, or motorhome? Anybody can use your site?
Anybody can use it, and we actually just released a big, basically version 2 of the site. So when I built this, we were tent campers, so it was kind of built with that in mind. And there weren't many RVers could use it, but there weren't the kind of filters that you need to be able to make sure that you get a site that's going to work for you. So version 2, what that did is add the option to set filters, so you can choose your equipment. So is it a tent or an RV or trailer? If you choose an RV and trailer, you can choose some additional options like the length of your rig, the whether you want hookups, what kind of hookups, full, electric only, electric and water, or just dry. And we take all those filters in and then only send you alerts based on what you chose. So if you chose full hookups and a site becomes available that matches everything else, but it doesn't have hookups, then we're not going to send you an alert. But then, if you don't care about that, then you don't set any filters, and we'll just alert you on any site.
Oh, cool. Okay. What does it cost?
Yeah. So the 3 different levels of alerts are, the lowest level is checks once an hour, and it is $2. The advanced level, kind of in between, lets you choose. It checks every 30 minutes. It also lets you choose one specific site if you wanted to check for it. Like you said, you've got this one site that you love. Every time you go to this campground, you can choose that one specific site, and that one is $3. And then the pro level is checks every 15 minutes, lets you choose up to 5 specific sites, and also allows you to receive a text message alert instead of an email, and that one is $5. And these are one-time payments.
Okay, that sounds really...
That's one of the things that makes us different is that a lot of these other services that do something similar they're based on a subscription model, right? So they will charge you a certain amount per month or a certain amount per year, and you get more. Maybe if you camp a lot, that might be a better option. But some of these people only camp, once or twice a year, and paying $40 to be able to get, set one alert is not that great. So with Camper Alerts, you can buy individual alerts, so it meets your needs. And that's how that works.
Now, what if you don't find any sites available?
Well, I think the way I put it on the site is on the frequently asked questions on our site is I can't predict the future. So I don't know that whether or not someone will cancel. It does happen a lot. Like I said, I've been using this myself for over 3 years now. I think I can count on one hand the number of times that an alert just didn't find anything. Mm-hmm. Most of the time, something opens up. But what you're paying for is a monitoring service. And so it is, we don't guarantee that something will open up. But like I said, most of the time something does.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that sounds very interesting. And I can see where a service like yours could be really valuable to people who are really into camping, especially, if you camp a lot and you're retired and you have the time available to do that.
CamperAlerts.com is the website. Maybe worth looking into, and the price definitely sounds right. By the way, I hope you'll check out Happy Camper Radio. Skip and Daniel live in the Southeast. They're RVers who've got a pretty cool deal going. Again, they're called Happy Camper Radio. We have a link up to them from our website at thervshowusa.com. And you got the RV wingman behind the wheel here. Welcome back to the show, everybody. This is the RV Show USA. So here's a question for you. When you opened up your property tax statement last time, when you opened it up, I'll bet you almost anything that your taxes went up, your assessed value went up, and I'll bet almost anything you're not happy about it. Am I right? Well, the bad news is that I don't ever see that trend reversing. Not ever. And that, I believe, is one of the reasons why people are giving up on a sticks and bricks home and choosing to live full-time in an RV. It's because homeowners, especially those on a fixed income, are being squeezed to death financially. Up now is a man who is not happy about what the tax man says, but it's more than that. Doug from Off the Grid with Doug and Stacy sees a much bigger issue. Like what, you may ask? Well, how about the phrase we seem to be hearing a lot of lately? In the future, you will own nothing and be happy. Well, this is one of those stories where I introduce you to people that I believe have a cool perspective, worth listening to. Just listen with an open mind.
In America, you now go to work, get taxed on your income, get taxed on everything you buy, get taxed on your house when you buy it, get taxed on your house when you own it. In Missouri, we even have personal property tax on our cars. So then I buy a car, I have to pay sales tax when I buy the car, thousands of dollars if you buy a new car. Then I have to pay personal property tax every single year on said car. Here we go. You're going to own nothing and be happy. I'm going to try to walk you through how I think they're going to achieve the goal of you owning nothing and being happy. They're already programming it in the kids' minds, right? Like at schools and now with cars, you can just hit an app and you can, go get someone's car that they're not using. You can use the car for a small fee and then leave. You got the Airbnbs. You can just pop in, stay for however long you want, and then you can leave. You have all this like ride sharing, right? So I have a friend of ours who has a business with boats, and it's the same kind of a thing. They just leave all the boats there at the lake, and then you have an app on your phone, and if you want to rent a boat, you just hit the app, and then you just go get the boat, and you have no cost of ownership, no storage. You don't have any of the maintenance, taxes, liabilities as far as ownership goes. And so the young kids, that's what they're getting in their mind, right? Like they don't want to own anything. They don't want to have to pay personal property tax and taxes, and they don't want to be upkeeping the place. And you know what I mean? Like they're just seeing it as a convenience, all the while not understanding that they're actually building no wealth. There's nothing to pass on to their heirs, to their family members, to their generations to come. It just all ends. When they're done, it's just it. They were just basically a consumer, and they just used, never built anything for longevity. You should be able to build up and be proud of what you build up and then hand it to your family, the next generation. What have we done? What has happened? Man, it used to be like, if you read the Founding Fathers' papers, like that was their dream they envisioned. Thomas Jefferson actually envisioned our country full of small landholders, people that made a living off of their land, and then who got together and had a collective voice on worldly matters, if you will, because they have a stake in it. Today, we don't have a stake in anything. People are just waking up and going through the motions. And look where it's getting us. Look, turn on your TV. Look where it's getting us. They're sexualizing your kids now in the public schools. Please, I implore you, if you have your children in public schools, I don't care if you think it's the best public school, get them out of the public schools. Learn to live off of one income, okay? The mothers, get home and raise your children. That is the most rewarding, it is your purpose. I mean, it is your purpose. That's why everything's so messed up. Because we're trying to operate off of man's purpose, man's design, and not God's design. But I got my tax assessment on this property. It went up 110%. Last year's tax value was $38,260, and this year it's $69,380. I almost lost my marbles when I opened this up. I called our assessor immediately and spent over a half an hour on the phone with him, asking him, what are you doing? What are you even doing? And he tried to give me the rundowns on, how they do their assessments and, following the state guidelines. And I just let them have a good, hard dose of reality, Like, on the best day, that building will never bring in the money that he's saying, because I just live in this little town of a couple thousand people. And so this right here is how they're going to do it. They're going to raise the property taxes on y'all. And you're going to be priced or taxed right out of your house. Okay? Please, y'all, I know we don't like to be involved with the government. I know that. But we're going to have to get involved. It's time. It's time that we get involved, and we have to make this is the first line of defense, is going to the meetings and making our voices heard. I mean, I'm sitting there telling this guy, like, you're taking an anomaly and you're turning it into a regular event. Like, you're trying to take COVID and people leaving the cities because of all the tyranny that happened and coming up here and buying some property and overpaying for it. And then you're trying to use that data and punish me, a person who's lived in the community now for 15 years and has contributed to it, and I'm trying to better the community. So we have to get a handle on this, or you guys are going to wake up and you're going to be forced out of your property because you can't afford. It's not that you can't afford the insurance. It's not that you can't afford the upkeep. It's not that you can't afford the siding or the new roof, but it's going to be that you can't afford the taxes. In America, You now go to work, get taxed on your income, get taxed on everything you buy, get taxed on your house when you buy it, get taxed on your house when you own it. In Missouri, we even have personal property tax on our cars. So then I buy a car, I have to pay sales tax when I buy the car, thousands of dollars if you buy a new car. Then I have to pay personal property tax every single year on said car. I mean, when is it going to stop? I have to pay tax when I buy food, tax when I buy clothes, tax when I buy gas, tax when I buy shoes, tax when I buy tires. So I just wanted to bring this information to you guys. But it is high time that we all start waking up and we all start getting involved and we start putting our foot down. Your grandkids and your great-grandkids are counting on you in this moment right now. Because our grandparents and great-grandparents dropped the ball. I said it. They straight up dropped the ball. They should have never let them roll in all these taxes on us. Never. Okay? Never.
So could this kind of thing actually happen? I know this segment wasn't about camping and RVing, but I think for many, you may be able to see the big picture. The saying that in the future you will own nothing and be happy. It's a phrase that originated with the WEF. Don't believe me? Look it up. I wanted to run this segment not to change anyone's mind, not to bash anybody, not to criticize anyone, but to just bring up a subject and introduce you to some folks that I follow and listen to a lot. So what do you think about all this? Do you feel the never-ending financial squeeze? For those on a fixed income, it doesn't look good, at least from my perspective. Anyhow, is this the kind of material you're interested in hearing more of? Maybe so, maybe not. Well, if you're like me, I hope you'll add Doug and Stacy to your favorites, or at least check them out at Off Grid with Doug and Stacy. And of course, we have a link to them from our website. Just go to thervshowusa.com, and while you're there, make sure and add your name to our email list. Hey, it's the RV Wingman, and before we roll into our next segment, I want to invite you to join me around my virtual campfire on YouTube. That's right, the RV Show USA has a YouTube channel where you'll find the video version of today's radio show. And welcome to the RV Show USA, everybody. Alan Warren here. I hope you're enjoying the beginning of the holiday season and that you're spending some time with your family and friends. You know, the time between Thanksgiving and New Year's is a great time to get outdoors if you can. Campgrounds are less crowded this year, and you can probably save some money with off-season rates. All right, so this next segment is from the best of the RV Show USA. It's a story that ran earlier in the year. It's with our friends at the Camper Report, who are not only talking about RVs, but one particular company that's also in the marine industry. They also talk about some pushback that some communities are getting that are saying, no more campgrounds in our area.
In the last couple of years, our friends at Winnebago have kind of turned themselves from just an RV manufacturer to really an outdoor recreation company. And, because they've got boating and they've got so many other ventures. But the numbers are now starting to show that they're going in the right direction because so many people now are turning to outdoor activities as opposed to, which include camping and RVing. But a lot of these people are doing this because they find that traveling by airline, as you and I well know, it's just not as convenient as it used to be. And you know what? They're doing more things outdoors. What do you know about that?
It's very interesting, but it's a sign of the times in terms of our own society. So there's so much pressure on cities and towns and government. We've got rising crime, we got homelessness in the streets. There are a lot of things that put pressure on people in their daily lives. They have to go to work and look at these zones. They get, criminals shooting up people on weekends. It's not a good environment out there. And so you can see.
It's not laughable. I shouldn't be laughing about it.
But you can see why they thirst for that weekend. and their ability to get away. And the best place to get away is on the great outdoors, whether it's a hike, whether it's a boating trip, whether it's swimming down at the old swimming hole. So it's kind of a return to what life was like many years ago, but they're seeking out quietness, camaraderie with people that have like-minded ventures on the weekend. So there's a downside, because of where society is, but we as RVers are not going to fix the ills of society. That's what we have government for. Government gives us the country, and a safe country at that. However, as the RV industry and the outdoor hospitality industry, we give people exactly what they need at this time in our country's history and in their own lives.
Yep. And, there's a quote here from our friend Mike Happy, who's the president and CEO of Winnebago Industries, which, again, it's their more than just RVs. It's clear that interest in activities like camping, boating, and hiking continue to rise as more people become exposed to them and experience the benefits of spending more time outside. Now, you and I were flying back from the Winnebago meetings in March of 2020 when that thing called COVID was just going on. And since that time, from 20 to 22, 82% of Americans indicated that they participated in outdoor activities such as camping and hiking at a location away from home, boating, or visiting a state or national park. Now, that trend continues as 97% of Americans say they plan to enjoy outdoor activities this coming year, an increase from last year. So those numbers are continuing to go up and up and up. And again, it's good for Winnebago because they'll sell more boats and they'll sell more RVs. But it's also good for Americans because, you know what, we became so stagnant that our activity was watching other things on TV. Now you get up to the great outdoors.
It's the variety of ways that we allow people to recreate. Yes, this is validation of Winnebago's investment in changing the image of the company to Winnebago Outdoors. And that can be a Grand Design fifth wheel. It could be a Chris Craft boat. It could be a Barletta pontoon boat, but they are making, I don't want to call them toys, but they're making RVs and boats that allow people to enjoy the outdoors more, as are many other manufacturers. But there's so many options between a regular campground, a luxury resort, a glamping resort. You can rent a cabin. You can rent somebody else's RV and go on a trip. You can go out and boondock because the technology is there. It's just, everything's coming together at one time that as people are totally frustrated in their personal lives with their schools, their government, their cities and towns, that the free time that they have off, they want to do something different, relaxing, and healthy. And like Mike says, the outdoors is a place to find health and happiness, to create cherished moments with the family and friends. That's what we do as an industry. That's what we do. So we're on top of the mountain.
Okay. And we usually have good news here on this show. But you know what? You talked about glamping and camping, and we were up, you're in Maine right there with that Portland headlight right behind you. Okay. We were camping up in Maine this weekend, and there are stories of communities where there are glamping and campgrounds planned that are now pushing back because that expansion from 2020 to now, with the increase in demand for camping, has made campground ownership very profitable. So as they continue to grow and expand, companies are saying, wait, that's enough. And our friends at Terramore, which is part of KOA, and Under Canvas, which is another company that already have existing facilities in the great state of Maine, new companies are coming in and trying to duplicate that. And the small towns are saying no. And even to the point where when we were in Bar Harbor this weekend, our host there told us that the town even wants to stop the number of cruise ships coming into Bar Harbor because it's inundating the town on certain days of the week when the regulars can't get around. So,
It's true. In fact, I think the day after you were there was 3 cruise ships.
Correct.
In the Bar Harbor.
Yep. With about 5,000 people.
Yeah, and Maine is kind of unique because you got Southern Maine, which is the real touristy, the New Hampshire coast, the Maine coast. Portland is a major city. They're more like the rest of the urban, the major city environments in the country.
Yep.
You got mid coast, but then you got the North Country, and in the North Country, that is still rural Maine. So, and Arcadia is up in that area. It's peaceful, it's quiet, it's serene, and a lot of the people up there are rebelling. They are not voting when these people come before the planning board. Whether it's 6 glamping tents or 600 RV sites, they're pushing back on it. A lot of the projects have been delayed. And that's the benefit of town government. That's their town. What people in the town want. So as much as we promote the RV industry and camping and glamping tents, as we said before, all the things that we can do, that doesn't get them excited. That doesn't get the Mainers excited. That's a tough road to
not
success
by any
up
means.
there. Right?
I know there was one particular project. I forget the town, but the organization that wanted to develop 12 acres of camping on 200 acres of total land, were told that's too dense. So, they were only going to use 12 acres out of 200, and the people pushed back.
There are indeed challenges facing the RV industry. A softening economy, uncertainty. Some communities, as you heard, are pushing back against what they may see as the overdevelopment of their area. And that's certainly understandable. It's a problem that will work itself out. Now, the good news is that people still want to RV. They still want to get off the pavement. They still want to escape to places that are peaceful. Unfortunately, those are not the easiest places to find. As we begin to wind down 2023, now may be a great time to look at another camping trip. Maybe even an off-season, over the holidays trip. As I mentioned, off-season rates can be quite attractive right now. Thanks to Bob and John with the Camper Report. You'll find them on YouTube, or we have a link to them at thervshowusa.com. All right, they're giving me the signal to wrap it up, but before we do, to get the latest version of my free RV report showing you how to save thousands of dollars when buying a new RV and learn how to not get ripped off, you can download it right now on our website. Yes, you can, at thervshowusa.com. And remember, if you're looking for a great RV dealer to do business with, I hope you'll check out those in the RV Dealers I Trust network, providing the absolute best buying and ownership experience ever. Go to rvdealersitrust.com. And finally, a special thanks to you for joining me around our virtual campfire. Till next time, I'm Alan Warren, the RV Wingman. Be safe, have fun, play nice, and don't leave your good manners at home.
The RV Show USA. Start living